Many startup teams can explain Lean Startup perfectly. They know what product market fit means, understand the build, measure, long loop, and can explain why MVPs should test assumptions instead of just shipping features. But the real problem starts when theory meets the mass reality of building a product. What should they build first? Which assumption matters most? What metrics prove the experiment work? This is where most teams get stuck, not because they are lazy, but because the Lean Startup gives them the mindset without specific guidance on what to do and how to do it. This is the gap Dan Olsen wanted to solve in the Lean Product Playbook. One of the most important ideas in the book is simple. The ultimate measure of product market fit is retention rate. Imagine a startup team with 3 engineers, 1 designer, and a runway that gets shorter every week. Most teams respond by shipping faster, like more tickets closed, more screens polished, more feature added, but shipping more doesn't not automatically create value. Dan Olsen explained that many teams struggle because they lack clear guidance on how to apply Lean principles in practice. And his advice is to avoid solutions-first thinking. You should separate product building into 2 spaces, the problem space and solution space. The problem space focused on customer needs, benefits, and outcomes. The solution space focused on features, UI, and implementation. Most startups jump directly in the solution space before validating the customer or the problem. But if the customer itself is wrong, no amount of beautiful design can save the product. The product market fit pyramid has 5 layers: target customer, undeserved needs, value proposition, feature set, and UX. The bottom 2 layers belong to the problem space. The top 3 belong to the solution space. Product market fit happens when the solution side matches the reality of the market side. The Lean product process moves through these layers step by step, like determine target customer, identify undeserved needs, define value proposition, specify MVP feature set, create MVP prototype, test with customers, iterate, and repeat. Olsen also reframes the traditional Lean startup loop. Instead of build, measure, learn, he prefers hypothesize, design, test, learn, because building is usually the most expensive step and should almost never happen first. A target customer is not a vague demographic like millennials who like productivity. That's not a customer segment, it's a wish. Also recommends creating one-page persona that includes goals, frustration, current behaviors, success criteria, usage context, and adoption characteristics. The key mistake founders make is creating imaginary personas and defending them instead of testing them. Also emphasizes that personas are living hypotheses and teams should constantly update them through real customer conversations. A strong example is Tesla. Tesla didn't start with mass market buyers. Their initial target customers was wealthy and early adopters who value performance, status, and sustainability. Tesla didn't need to convince everyone. It only needed wealthy early adopters to believe that electric cars could be desirable. Customer needs should always be defined as benefits and outcomes, not as feature. For example, user need a dashboard is not a need, it's a feature. A real need sounds like users need to quickly understand whether their business is on track. Dan Olsen introduces the importance versus satisfaction framework to identify the best opportunities. Each customer problem is evaluated using 2 dimensions: importance and satisfaction with current solutions. The strongest opportunities exist in the top left quadrant: high importance, low satisfaction. These are painful problems customers care deeply about, but existing products solve poorly. A great example is Calendly. Calendly didn't reinvent calendars. Instead, it solved one painful issue extremely well: the endless back and forth of scheduling meetings. That specific frustration sat directly in the high importance, low satisfaction category. A value proposition is not a marketing slogan. It's a strategic decision about which customer needs you will solve and how your product will beat alternatives. Also recommends using the value proposition grid. The grid compares your product and competitors across 3 categories: must-haves, performance benefits, and delighters. The framework forces founders to answer an uncomfortable question: why should someone switch from a competitor to your product? The answer must be both rational and emotional, and Figma is a perfect example. They entered a crowded market full of design tools but identified one major gap: real-time collaboration. Design had become collaborative, but the software still behaved like it was built for solo creators, and that insight became Figma's advantage. The book makes an important distinction. An MVP is not the smallest feature list, it's the smallest experience that tests your core hypothesis. Features should always come from their value proposition. They should exist only because they help deliver their promised customer benefit. Every feature should be written as a testable hypothesis. For example, if we provide this, users can complete this task faster, or if we remove this friction, activation will improve. If a feature doesn't directly test a core assumption, it should be removed from the MVP. One of the biggest startup mistakes is overscoping the MVP, because teams treat it like a smaller version of the futureful product and spend months building something overly complex instead of testing the core assumption quickly. Dan Olsen intentionally says prototype instead of build. A prototype is a faster and cheaper starting for a real product. It can be paper sketches, wireframes, clickable mockups, or interactive flows. Olsen strongly recommends clickable prototypes because they create realistic user reaction without requiring expensive engineering work. The rule is simple: no code unless absolutely necessary. Engineering is expensive and difficult to reverse, but prototypes allow startups to test ideas before committing major resources. Notion is a good example of this mindset. The product evolves through years of experimentation and iteration before becoming the flexible workspace people know today. Notion succeeded because the team kept updating assumptions instead of treating the first version as correct. Many teams believe they are doing research when they actually collecting compliments. The book outlines a structured testing process. First, confirm their participant matches the target customer persona. Testing with the wrong people creates misleading feedback. Second, use task-based walkthroughs. Instead of explaining the product, give user realistic tasks and observe their behavior carefully. Watch where they hesitate, where they confused, where they click incorrectly, and where they give up. Third, ask open-ended question instead of leading ones. Did you like it? Is the bad one. But better question is, what were you thinking when you reached this screen? After each session, document top positives, top blockers, and simple rating for usefulness and usability. Run 5-8 sessions, identify patterns, updating assumptions, and repeating the process in waves. Olsen also recommends looking for real commitment, like willingness to schedule another session, willingness to pay, or willingness to invite others. Real commitment matters more than polite enthusiasm. Did you know that retention is the most honest product metric? Why? Because many metrics can be manipulated, like sign-ups can be bought through ads, downloads can spike from press, revenue can increase temporarily through discounts, but if users do not come back, there is no real product market fit. Also recommends tracking cohort retention curves. Cohort is a group of users who joined during the same time period. Teams should track week 1 to 4 retention and long-term retention trends. Improving retention curves over time are a strong sign that product market fit is trailing. You can also use the acquisition, activation, retention, revenue framework. Also explaining that quality research matters most early in the product journey, while qualitative analytics become more valuable later when the product and customer segment are already clear. Dan Olsen highlights 5 common mistakes that repeatedly destroys products. First, solution first thinking, where teams focus on features before validating customer problems. The second one is overscoping the MVP. It's where the MVP becomes a smaller version of the full product instead of a focused experiment. Third, bad testing hygiene, because leading questions and incorrect participants generate misleading feedback. Fourth, premature optimization. It's when teams optimize dashboards, onboarding, and acquisition before finding real product stickiness. And lastly, mistaken activity for progress. More features, more metrics, and more shipping do not necessarily mean stronger product market fit. Retention remains the most reliable indicator of value. The Lean Product Playbook is often called the practical operating manual for Lean Startup. Lean Startup explains why rapid experimentation matters, but the Lean Product Playbook explains how to structure that process. Jobs to be done complements the framework by helping founders understand customer motivations and desired outcomes. Design thinking overlaps heavily with the prototyping and testing stages, but tends to be more exploratory and less hypothesis-driven. The framework is also frequently compared with Inspired by Marty Kagan. An useful comparison is that Inspired shows what great product team looks like, but Lean Product Playbook explains how to start working like one. Tesla demonstrates the importance of choosing the right target customers first. Calendar demonstrates how powerful undeserved needs can become when solved correctly. Figma demonstrates the power of differentiated value propositions. Notion demonstrates the importance of iteration, experimentation, and evolving hypotheses over time. Together, these examples show how the product-market fit pyramid works in real companies. A startup rarely fails because the founders weren't smart enough. Most fail because they spent too long building something nobody needed. Here is the core lesson behind Lean Product Playbook. Momentum beats perfection and learning beats guessing. The founders who win are usually not the ones with the most features, the biggest roadmap, or the fanciest pitch deck. They are the ones who get into market fast, listen carefully, adapt quickly, and improve relentlessly. They treat product building like a conversation with reality, not a performance. And if you're building a startup right now, don't wait for the perfect version. Ship the simplest version that solves a real problem. Talk to users, watch what they actually do. And if you need help turning your idea into a startup, we can help. At Molfar, we work with founders to launch products faster, validate ideas early, and avoid wasting months building the wrong thing. If you have an idea and ready to build, message us and we'll help you take the next step. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, don't forget to hit the subscribe and like button. Check the links below and follow us on social media for more tips and updates. And if you're ready to take your startup to the next level, visit Molfar. We will help you build fast and smart. Catch you next time.